right. We are live already, and there are already 7 people watching the show. So, welcome. Those who already joined the U-Turn show. Today discussion is a loaded discussion. It's about how libraries transform communities, and we are honored to have our special guest, Kuru Peter, Walkman educate on the value of libraries and the culture of reading and everything today. So thank you for joining. Please share this video. It might help 1 or 2 people that might find it inspirational or educational, and they may apply it in their own journey. And if you are new to the U-Turn, please feel welcome. I am Rhoda Kwal. I am a co-host here. I also have my other co-host, Kuri George Dorcas here, who will also be asking questions and contributing to this discussion. As always, our platform here is solely for educating, empowering, and inspiring our communities, as well as spotlighting people like who are doing amazing work in our community to drive change. So our job here is to amplify these voices, these stories, and making inspirational content, available and accessible to our people, so that young people don't, waste time consuming content online that doesn't contribute to their personal development. So the U10 has the word mean the U10 is a transformational platform. It's a platform dedicated for a U10, for a change, for a transformation. So thank you always for joining us. I don't want to take a lot of time. I want us to go right into the topic, and the topic will be very short. Kur, please welcome on the U10 again. This is the second time for you to join us. Maybe many people may not know you, so if you can take this first minute to just introduce yourself a little bit, who you are, your background, and what inspired you to be on the U10 or to be talking on the topic that you chose today. Take it away, my dear.
Yeah. Thank you so much. My name is Peter. Um, uh, the co-founder and executive director of the Power Youth Foundation. And yeah, and about today's topic is really amazing because it's something that I put my heart into, something that I'm working on, and libraries are something that are really important resources for the community. Um, just a bit about my background. I completed my high school in Africa Leadership in Greenbelt Academy, right? And I moved to South Africa in 2020 up to 2022, where I started my A level, and that's where I fell in love with what is called books, what is called libraries, right? And so there were libraries around everywhere. And also after completing that, I moved to ALU, I mean, African Leadership University in Rwanda, where they would like to interact and also start my bachelor's in um, entrepreneurship leadership, entrepreneurial leadership, I mean. And I just completed my classes recently. And during my time at ALU, I engaged a lot with books and also like the different resources within the school and outside school. I was also a member of Kigali Public Library, so I was really inspired a lot by. I always because you just pay a little bit amount, and then people will like to take any type of books that you want to read and whatever. So and also at ALU campus, so most of the time I go to library, pick a book, and yeah, and also like yeah, that was a bit about what I do. So yeah, and during at ALU also like reading exposed me a lot, and that's really helped me to be able like to tap into leadership roles where I serve as president of Mastercard Foundation Scholars at African Leadership University. Right, and I think we did a lot of incredible stuff with other young people. And yeah, and I think that's a little bit about my journey. And yeah, I am today. I'm so excited because libraries mean a lot. They are not just storage, book storage. They are platforms that really help people like to connect and really help people like to educate themselves and share knowledge among each other. And so I'm so excited to share it today because in South Sudan, having libraries really hard. I'm now in Shirikat today, but in the entire Shirikat there is no library. And in the entire Shirikat, the only school that has library right now is Salam Secondary School and Amonto Girls, out of more than 20 schools which are in Shirikat. So I mean the area where I'm doing this lab show. So yeah, I'm really excited so that I could be able to see how these libraries are really important, sharing the knowledge and all this. Yeah, but yeah, thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. I can't believe that Shirkat, the entire Shirkat, in Wakyol and in Wachi and in Pana, it doesn't have libraries. I station guy, yeah, get at all over the place, got a weddings. Anyway, I don't want to take Jam outside the topic of today, but thank you so much for that incredible background and the commitment, Chatao, into the work that you do, and for the experiences that you at Africa Leadership University. You found an organization that is really championing this library access. So you will talk later about it in more details, but I want you to speak really but problem can't be fine. What does education beyond classroom means to you personally, and how can each of us work out on the U10 studio, which are caught in the comment section? How can we contribute to making learning something that is accessible to everyone? And from your own life, how why is that even important?
Okay, I think thank you so much. I think that's an incredible question. Like, what does education beyond classroom mean to me personally, and how each one of us to be able to contribute to learning, like make it accessible to all. First of all, most of us, classroom are really good place for us to connect with other young people. It's a good environment where we could be able to learn from teachers, but we'll be given 1 plus 2, 3 plus 4, and that doesn't mean that the content given to you by the teacher is the only thing that you can rely on. And that's what I mean, like education beyond classroom mean that learning does not stop when the bell rings, right? So when they ring the bell to the next lesson, when they ring the bell like for break, right? Learning doesn't stop there, right? Because learning beyond classroom, it is a mentorship, and also being able like have the curiosity, and also like embark in the path of self-discovery, and all those things happen in the libraries. All those things happen in community centers, and even under trees, where we used to be studying back in Matiang. I remember in Matiang around 2009 to 2020, 2011. We used to study with my friends under the tree after the classes, right? We would like to share small content and that. And that was just in grade two, grade three. We didn't know more if it is like some kind of learning. So, and that means that learning doesn't really stop beyond classroom, because in classroom you cannot get mentorship. In classroom you will not be more curious enough. And in the classroom you cannot discover yourself much enough so that you could be able like to uh, know who you are. So, but outside classroom, and that's mean in the library, that's how magic happens. So, and to the question that how can we able to contribute, I think each one of us can make learning accessible. One, could be able like to share what you know. For example, what I'm sharing now is maybe what I know, right? And that can help another person. And also, for example, I might form a group of 10 or 15, like what we did back then in 2011. With maybe currently for people who are in high school, you could be able to find reading groups where you could be able to have just a reading circle, sharing different insight on topics, and that's really important. And another thing that you could be able to make learning um, like learning accessible to all is donating a book. Last year we received around 25,000 books from Book for Africa in the United States, and those books we distributed for around 18,000 institutions across the 3 states in South Sudan. And we managed to also equip a Botan Community Library with 6,000. So the books that they donated are helping a lot of young people and also the learners and community members in South Sudan. And that's how you can help. Another thing that you could do to make learning accessible to everyone is to be a mentor for one another. For example, while you can be a mentor to me, guiding me in how I could be able to discover myself. And that's in that way, the knowledge that you're sharing with me, the experiences that you're sharing with me, people like to guide me, right, and go in the right path. So education, so in all, education become more powerful when it is shared. It's not when it is taught. So basically, library is not a place where we just store the knowledge. It is a place where we share knowledge, and also like other people who have gone to a certain level, like you, Paul, and other colleagues who are on the call line, people who are joining online. I think the knowledge that you have, the experiences that you have, when you share them with others, that's dedication, and that's how to become powerful to the people. Instead of keeping it to yourself, that's not dedication. So and so that's what I can say on that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for those great reflection. I was just typing very fast to quote what you said because I don't want to miss it. That education is powerful when it is shared. That is the value. And that is actually the mantra of the U-turn platform is sharing the knowledge that we have, sharing the experiences that we have with one another. So once you get the education, you give back to the community somehow in whatever capacity you are. So thank you for that, and thank you for reflecting on all different ways that we can contribute to making knowledge accessible. Thank you. I will give it to Quiri Joy to ask the next question, and then we'll be back. Quiri Joy, take it away.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Peter, for taking us through that. And, by the time I saw the title, that learning beyond classroom, whenever we read within classroom, we are only uh, we are only restricted to a certain area. But if we read beyond classroom, it means that we should explore different angles. Because for me now, I'm focusing on anything related to machine learning, AI, and so on and so forth. But if you go to the library, you open up to the entire world and you try to explore as much book as possible. I remember those days when you took a challenge here in Kigali. I don't know whether was it 30 days challenge of reading. So I was really inspired, especially me and a friend of mine, a joke. We also took that thing and we tried to have a challenge, and that's why last year I did that challenge for the entire year. So it means that reading, whenever you try to read, you are not restricted to a particular subject. You open up into the world. You read small about politics, small about entrepreneurship, small about health, so on, so forth. The next question that I'm going to ask you, Kur, when you look into our community, especially, let me just narrow it to Jongle. This habit of reading, it is not being embraced by everyone. Okay, you find someone where they are bold about expressing it. Someone may say, whenever I take book, I feel sleepy, and they are proud when they are saying that. What? Imagine, So now, how can we really increase awareness about the importance of libraries and reading culture among young people in South Sudan? Let me just generalize it in South Sudan, being given that weaknesses whereby we express ourselves that we don't know this, or whenever we try to do this, we feel like this. So how can we create awareness?
I think that's really a good question. Like, how can we really create awareness? For example, we have a library in Bonn, but how many people really access it? That's the question. We might have a library in school. How many students really access it? It's really a big matter. But I think before getting into that question, just want to just give a brief data about the situation of education in South Sudan. And I think as a report of UNICEF 2021, they say that 2.8 million children out of school, right? Which is up to 70% of children that are age education level. Right? That's a big number, right? If you have such number of people out of school, isn't it not big? Right, that's one thing. Another thing is that you could see uh, um, South Sudan is one of the lowest, is one of the countries with the lowest literacy rate. It has 34.5%, which is which rank her to be 183 out of 185 countries globally. Does mean that there's a lot of things to do to be able like to increase literacy rate, right? To be able like to read and write. It doesn't just happen in class, right? It happened beyond that. And also I've been engaging a lot with the Ministry of Education, the national one, and also the Ministry of Education in Jonglei State. And to my surprise that 2.4 million books were distributed last year, which was led by Save the Children. And if you see where these books were distributed to, they were just given to schools. And those schools, they don't have a space where they can properly store them so that a student can come and use them. That's one of the factors. And I think when I have had engagement with the, the, the the director of national curriculum at the National Ministry of Education, to my surprise that they say we just distribute books. We don't specify if they have libraries or not. But most of the time, when the school say that there is a place where they can store them, that's where we give the books. So the culture is really differentiating the culture of reading and also like how people involved. And the data that I got from them is that 90% of educational institutions across the country, they don't have libraries at all, right? And that's give us like a big a question on how can we improve literacy uh, rate if we don't have resource hubs in schools in communities to be able like to do that, right? And that's a big question. And so when you look at that 34% of the literacy rate, 28.9% are women. Let me say female, which means women they are really behind in catching up with education, and 40.3% of those are female are male. So which means male are more dominant in when it comes to literacy rate. So how can we go like to do that, and how can we deal about that? It's really a big threat, and then it also goes up to goes up, and there is another data that shared by UNESCO, live long learning, says that 4,181,233 adults in South Sudan, they lack literacy skills. It's a big threat. So, and that came to the question of how can we really improve uh, the, uh, the, the literacy rate, right? The awareness of libraries in the country. And so you see, giving that number is really staggering and is really a threat to the education sector. Having such kind of like 4.1 million people not having literacy skills, 34.5% of the entire population, 11 million, just they are the one literate, drive us to a different direction. So for me, in order for us to be able like to increase um, awareness on the libraries or the importance of libraries, first of all, in our own ways, especially like the schools, like we need to be able like to make reading cool and relatable. Instead of you just pick the book does not relate to what you want. Right? For example, if I'm interested in leadership, I would be able like to pick the books that are really related to what I want to learn. If I want to learn more about finances, it's not just picking any book. Learn about that. And I think when the reading is cool and relatable, you could be able like to do a lot. And I think most of you here, when you start reading a book and the book is boring, there's a book that when you start reading it, you will be eager to finish it, right? So, and that's the importance. So when you make, we have to make reading cool and relatable. And so when we learn something from that book, we could be able like to recommend it to one person. One of the people that I really appreciate, one of my friends is called Daniel Mareng, right? Marial Kudum is the CEO of Nile Green Packaging. Right? Whenever you find some resources online, especially a book, he will share it with me. And so I always pick up from there and I read it, even though it is a digital book, right? So whenever you find something cool and relatable to the other person, share it with them. And that will make us like increase the awareness of the importance of reading, and then also like reading culture and also libraries. Another thing is that we have to be able like to host reading challenges in our schools, in our community libraries. That will really attract a lot of people, so that they could be able like to come and read and have fun with us. Another point that I could go talk to is the book club, right? Or reading clubs. Most of the schools, I don't think whether they have reading clubs. And so when we have reading clubs, a lot of people will join, either in primary school, high school. A lot of people will join those clubs, and that will really amplify the awareness of the importance of books and also the reading culture. And one most important thing is that I've seen a lot of people writing books. For example, Moch. I think that's the person that I've really picked. He's been writing good books lately, right? They tell a lot of stories in those. So I think for us to be able like to increase the reading culture and also like the importance of libraries, we're supposed to feature storytelling events with the local authors like Moch, other young writers, so that we could be able like to expose them to the community and like their work to the community, and the community will also like fall in love with what they are doing. I think that's the most important thing. And about the library, I think social media can amplify library success stories, and also like be able to inspire others. And I think that's one thing that we will be able to tap in as the Power Youth Foundation right now, to be able like to share more about the success stories of people who are accessing our libraries, and also like in different schools that we distribute books to be able like to share the stories, and also and that can inspire you could to be able to come to Bortown Community Library to come and read, right? Because people there are learning. So I think when young people see this, their peers learning through books, I think they will realize that libraries are not just for exam, right? I think they will really embrace it that libraries act for exploration and for empowerment. So when we put all these things together, I think it will build something meaningful. Yeah. So that's what I can say around that point. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kur. I, I'm really learning a lot, and what I just I'm going to summarize it within one point. So you are technically trying to say that we should really make it attractive. We should try as much as possible to make reading attractive. In Atomic Habit, they always say that if you are struggling with something, just try as much as possible to make it attractive. And whenever you make it attractive, by that it will be very easy for you, and you will not think more about it. You will just do it automatically. So it is going to us again to really go out there, and we try to do maybe reading challenges. For me, I have a good friend of mine. That's a joke. We stay together. We whenever we read books, we always discuss it in the evening walk. We have evening walk always from 6 to 7. So in that 1 hour, we will discuss what we read in the book. You see, so by that you are strengthening whatever things that you learn. Because whenever you share something with someone, you will master it. So thank you so much. I give it to
Yeah,
Upwell.
yeah, I think to just add briefly to that, in South Sudan, yeah, reading is. I think someone asked about what about people who discourage people from who love reading for personal upgrade. I think each and every one of us should really have a personal goal you set for yourself. You don't need anyone to come and set goal for yourself. For example, if I set the goal for me to read 100 books this month or this year, I mean, because it cannot be possible in a month. It can be possible if you have time. So you can't let someone come and dictate like how you want to upgrade your own skills, because reading gives you a lot of skills, critical thinking, and the ability to be able to speak fluently, right? And also like whenever you have opportunity to talk to people, you'll have different things to talk about, and also like points to talk about. So there are stories there. So the point here is that don't let someone come and dictate your learning. It is you who will be able like to learn, and it is really important for you to embrace reading. You don't let someone to come and dictate it. That's what I can say about that. Just set your goal and work toward that goal. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. I like that you answered. I was about to bring it up to ask that question of discouragement. I think in Kenya, your child, when book your money, you will bend your cool. Peter, I know there are people that are gossiping in our community, and I relate. You look on can book it, and I hear it go up here.
Yeah.
So, thank you. At
People,
least you have a strategy.
Yeah, people will say a lot about you, but I think you are the last person to make a decision on who you want to be. So you don't need to let people come and decide who, who you want to be, how you want to live it. Life is yours because when you die later on, you are not dying with another person. It is you. So when you are giving some kind of inspiration, it is only you. Like when you are learning something, that knowledge is really help you to be able to do something incredible. For example, if I read a book around finances, right, financial literacy, it will help me to manage my finances, not helping you to manage your finances. You get it? So why do I have to let another person come and dictate how I read? So if I want to know about financial literacy, I don't have to let someone come and say, no, you don't need that, bro. You have a lot of money and all those things. I need to manage that money, right? So yeah, that's what I can say around that.
Thank you, thank you. Where is Steve? Before one again, Dorcas, and you know to quarter, could you please let us know about the future of readings? It is conflicting with social media. So basically, but background in that question, I just will there in well, our culture, we're oral narrative people. Like, I can in our blood, this thing of libraries or reading, Western thing. Our knowledge is preserved through oral tradition. But now, what Ben, people realize that there's so much that is lost into oral literature that now, having resources like libraries, and that's why can work this Western, model of knowledge preservation can work alone that will be among libraries. But then now another challenge that Ben, think social media, like we don't want to, to read. We just want to learn on social media. And Ben, they're on TikTok or Facebook to get the news or to read about diet or call the how to on the YouTube so much. So my question is, on that is I know South Sudan are limited access to internet, so that means the model of libraries and reading should be very strong. So how do you advise or what experiences do you have around this question and the challenge of social media, the tradition and the need for reading?
Yeah, I think that's a question from Quad. Thank you for that. You know, I think yesterday when I was going home, I stopped by a shop to buy some water, and so I'd like when I and that shop has a Wi-Fi. Let me say Starlink Wi-Fi, and almost 10 people seated there were scrolling on TikTok, and I was like, I was like, I think this is really becoming a threat to the society, right? Because it's really a big thing. Today books are no longer the loudest voices in the room. We should be sure about that. But notifications on our phones are. For example, I have my phone here, right? If I want to be able to focus, I just have to turn it off. Turn the like to D&D, right? Because social media give us instant entertainment. We will be laughing, you laugh, but what makes it different from reading is that reading requires patience, right? And also the reflection and the imagination. For example, what could you just say that whenever we have a conversation with whenever we read a book with my friend Ajuk, we will sometimes sit down and discuss about it. There are some books when we read them, we be able to reflect and imagine how the future will look like, right? So, and that's why many young people now, they're like, people scroll for hours, but they can't focus for just 10 minutes on a book because this thing requires patience, reflection, and imagination. So basically, the algorithm is designed to reward the distraction, not the depth. That's one thing that we should know. It is designed to reward distraction, not the depth of knowledge, right? So, but some social media are really fixing now. Like they were like to give us different ways of doing. For example, like TikTok, I think, and also like Instagram, Twitter. There's a lot of tools. They are now becoming a powerful tool to promote literacy and storytelling. Because sometimes you'll be able to see some people who like. There's one of the people that I found, Twitter. I think back then when I used to use TikTok, right? Log in and they were like to scroll. So one person was teaching people mathematics on TikTok. And so if you're someone is struggling about math, just go there. I think the goal here is that and you know sometimes we could be able to set hashtag for people who are really curious about learning, right? And for example, I can say book talk. in my post, and maybe read Africa. So this thing they can really inspire millions of young readers across the country to be able like to use this kind of shot whatever, right? So personally, uh, 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 they become a distraction, but it comes to the point of as a person the goal that you set for yourself are really important, right? If you want to be like, if you're earning $40,000 a year, right, and that money is not really sufficient enough. Maybe you want to upgrade your skills, maybe critical thinking skill, other skills that really help you to be able to get promotions and all those things. Social media will not help you easily. The only thing that will help you is the library. The only thing that will help you are the online courses, right, to be able to learn. The only thing that can help you to get a mentor to help you like mentoring you in different ways, right? So my point here is that it's based on personal goals, or let me say personal goals and ambition, the future ambition. So if I want to be able like to become somebody or something in the future or now, do I need, is really social media important to me? So those things are really important for us to be able to realize, right? So for me, there is really a big battle, right? Between the social media and all those things, and we have to be able to create some area of how this thing can coexist, like the social media and like the reading. So we have to be able to teach young people to use social media as the bridge to deeper learning, right? Not a wall to block it, right? That's something that we really have to understand. So the goal is to to scroll with purpose and read with curiosity when you're on social media. And that's what I said before. When someone is sharing more about history, someone is sharing more about mathematics in TikTok, and if I want to learn about that, that's where my scroll should have a purpose, right? And also I have to say, whenever I'm reading a book, I have to read with curiosity. So when you have all those things, Jan, I think that can really help you to be able like to balance the two, the social media and also the book reading. I think that's what I can say on that, because it's becoming a distraction for young people, for elders and all. It's really a big problem, because right now, when I look around, the literacy rate of elderly people, right, it is really crazy, right? Literacy rate of the older people are age is it age what? How do you call them? Age 65 plus, right? It is only 12.4%. And when you see sometimes some of the museums, you will see them like they are scrolling on TikTok instead of just picking a book and read. That will really help you to be able to speak fluently, right? And so this is really a big challenge for us, right? But we need to improve it though. Yeah. But thank you.
I didn't know was there at on TikTok or like you funny. Dorcas, are you there? What the next question about before video lot of which and you know, I don't think it's very important, how do and I could just emphasize about making reading attractive. I remember when I was young person like you guys now and your grandma. I used to love reading, and what made it even more attractive is Congo can the Tamaka in book. Okay, a gift, It becomes more because I want to read but yeah, you jala winning at it. Oh my goodness, this is what I learned. So where thing man ya nyir ko ne ko chalwe ne yin kurgule literature edit diarata nompi. And the way to encourage that, I know Nyandu go can you work out in the comment section. Of course, what declare na kwen na Nyandu go you to a pork, you to a iPhone. Because na to iPhone, I lot ba get on TikTok, but nyaj kula mergu je akata to it. But not doing books. The kind of your opinion, you need to be a future leader. So I don't know where young men, Tom, and are you doing that? Okay, where young girls still because they're two way. But when the bandit got to a book, when it could be me at your but you quite a lot of two will be next so long as you give each other here. So how do young people entertain themselves? I want you to make those declarations, put it in the comment section. How do you make reading exciting for yourself and for quarter in relationship? Can you? And this also goes to the question empathy is that Bajala Bidorkas la next. And how can libraries become more than just places for books, but also spaces for mentorship, for innovation, for leadership, or for relationship because I feel like there is need for intellectual dating. But instead of going, got to Louis, like a library, and that don't look when you're going to go to Quenke. I let them get to when now you and you'll reflect that deep connection. I can't already you be. So how can we make libraries more than just places for small, but connect those things to our personal growth, our relationship growth, our moral development, our leadership development, and how do you do it in your own ways? But yeah, quality. Yeah, Duncan.
Okay, Babe. So yeah, I think for me to be able to prepare for this session, I try to dive deep into different library, like how other countries are really using libraries, right? And so when I try to do a little bit of digging in the American, let me say United States libraries, right? One thing that I've seen that is that public libraries return $4 to $5 in value for every $1. So whenever you invest in the public library, either you put $4 in it, right? Put $1 in it to give you a return of 4 to 5, right? Because it's like through services, literacy, and workforce development. This was like some kind of research that I get from American Library Association. Also, one thing that I realized that in the libraries, United States children, right? U.S. children who frequently library users, they are really good at they become better on reading tests and also like school readiness than those who don't, right? And really help people. And another thing is that libraries serve as safe public spaces, right? In the research that I did is that in 2022, 2.5 billion visits were made to U.S. libraries alone. 2.5 billion visits were made to U.S. libraries alone, which is very incredible. And I think there is a reason why there is 2.5 billion visits because people are learning, right? And so, for me, like the question you say that and also the data that I got from there is that 73% of U.S. Public libraries they help people with job application, right? And also like resume writing. For example, if you are struggling with your resume and also like some kind of career development, you'll find people who can help you in the libraries with such kind of things. It's really important. So for me, how we could libraries are not just places where we could develop host books. There are places where we could host career talks, where we would like to call young people, and be able like to talk on something. So if you get a chance to maybe learn about job back libraries, right? Just try to search for them. Young people sit down sometime and talk about careers, right? People like to invite some keynote speakers to come and tell you more about careers, and then people will learn from there. Another important thing that libraries are not just places for books; there is a skill workshop, right? And that's something that we're also planning as a Power to do in different public libraries that we already have, which is one in Botan, right? To be able like to have skill workshops there. I think we already had one of ours lately last year, and we're planning to have another one, so that people will understand that libraries are not just places for book, but you could be able like to learn with each other, right? And so like tutoring, right? You could be able to provide a space where you can tutor young people, right, on specific topic. So libraries they just serve as a place where we will just go and read. No, it doesn't be like that, right? So if you imagine that a library where you can borrow a book, attend a coding class, and meet a local entrepreneur, right? Is that not just a library? It's not just a library, like because libraries involve around from the storage spaces to transforming spaces because they just don't exist because they are libraries. They are storage spaces, and they transcend to be transformation spaces because you will have different sessions there, reading session like reading clubs, and reading challenges, career talks, skill workshops, get people like to meet with different mentors. So it helps you really to be able like to learn more. So library for me is not just a place where you could ever like to go and read. It is more than that, especially the public libraries. Right. So for us as the Power, we are moving in the direction that through like different youth clubs that we are having. Currently, we have different entrepreneurship clubs, Right now, we are moving to the point of establishing reading clubs in different schools and also in our library space, so that young people, could be able to learn from there, and then initiate what we call different leadership and business and career workshops for young people to really know that library is not a place for books, but a place for learning. Yeah, and get inspiration. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Dorcas, take it away. Very well answered. And many people are clapping. You, Dorcas, Santino. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Dorcas, take it away, mom.
Okay, hi. This is a very nice topic, by the way, and I think a topic that is talking about reality about how South Sudan library and reading spaces is something important. Kuhapia can book Peter was today. He one of the people that has stand up to bridge this gap of library access, and I believe Initiative Day will do more about that to make sure that we have access to the library and resources. Can you hear it? Yeah. So which question they attack a teacher and they are really very interesting and interactive. And I think that Kura, the co-founder of that library initiative, I think along some concept loom here to make sure that that library can accommodate the whole community of South Sudan. Either with our line can be accessible, can be yeah, I think it will be okay. So the question that but teach is that I teach but I will discuss in the first question that we have limited access to library in South Sudan. Even our mindset alone, uh, two are reading at a very low. So what I want to ask that Peter, like your role, do you think the Louis government, Louis play to this awareness and making sure that we live and have the mindset to are reading and having the library access, or some NGOs in South Sudan. So in which way do you think that you guys can be supported such that we can have this access to the library and resources in South Sudan? Then the question is Ben.
Okay. Yeah.
Then I'll ask
Uh,
another question. So the
okay.
question is this: what are the role that the government and some NGOs can do to support the library access, or how the community, South Sudan community, can have access to the library or the resources online? So what are the roles that you think that they can do to support you guys that have stand up, have the initiative like this?
Okay. Thank you so much. There was an initiative started, I think, around 2017-16, called the South Sudan Library Association or Union, something around that, a foundation. And I think they had a library in Budele, in Juba here in Budele. Don't think whether it is really functioning well now, because all these things need government collaboration and to be able to work together. I think the first step that we took, I think it was it on Monday? Yeah. Oh, today is Saturday. So on Thursday, we signed an MOU with the National Ministry of Education to be able to establish 35 libraries across the country for the next 10 years, right? So, and that's one of the things, I think, the policy that they really uh, they really have us there to be able to welcome these ideas from this small initiative, because it is really important. A young person who cannot afford a book, whom their parent cannot afford a book, whom their parent cannot be able to afford electricity, or even like mere phone or a touch, they can use library to learn. They can use the library for a space to read. So I think for me, what the government, NGOs, and investors and other government institutions, they have to really be able to integrate library development into education policy. Right? Right now in South Sudan Act, I don't think whether there is a library thing there. When you go to the National Ministry of Education, there is no any body, institution body that um, runs the library activities. That means they don't really value it, or that means they know nobody who really initiated. And I think that's one of the things that we really have to push for it, so that the government could be able to put library development into its educational policy, right? Uh, I think the another thing like other um, uh, stakeholders can do is to be able like to provide grants. You know, right now you will be able like we are struggling to ask people to provide us with solar system to install in both community libraries so that people, young people, could be able to learn late hours. Because the government power right now there is really having issues, right? It ends at 3, and most of the school can like the defer student around 3 to 4, and some of the government official or even working staff or working personnel, the job ends at 5 or 4. So where will you get a time to be able to read, right? So if the light is not available within the library, so providing grants can really help us to be able to set electricity, solar power electricity in these small libraries, and that can really help a lot of young people. I think one again, I think another thing that these institutions, or let me say stakeholders, can do is to be able like to train librarians in modern management and digital literacy, especially in these universities. Like there are some people in universities, right? University librarians, right? Jamajuba, Stanford International University, and other universities across the country. Like um, there's another school called Upper Nile University. They have a structure, but they do not put the books there, right? So sometimes librarian can be able like to teach students how to read, the type of book selection, right? So if they are not trained, I think it will be really hard for them to be able to figure that out, and also like to show students the new digital ways of reading. You get. So for me, another thing I believe universities can do is to be able to adopt schools and support mentorship programs for students. And I think most of the students could be able to turn up for for reading sessions, for turn up in the libraries, because they will know that libraries is not the only place where you can only read, but you'll be able to find mentors that can guide you, right? You could be able to find a support system that can help you to adopt different type of reading. So uh, one thing I think other organization can do is that supplying books, right? For example, Book for Africa, Book Aids International, and other important book donors. They could be able to supply books. Currently, we are lacking East African books in different libraries here, and they are the most used in South Sudan education system. So different NGOs could be able to supply this kind of books to these libraries that we have. And I think, and that's really important. And most importantly, they could be able like to have us in capacity building, and also having communities run and sustain their libraries by themselves, right? Because NGO can set a library and they want to be able to run it, right? Right now, Save the Children build a library in Botan, which is something that they are managing with the ministry, but it is not sustainable, right? They are not managing it well. So setting something up and you don't really have people to manage it well is really a barrier. So I think those are the few things that like this institution or stakeholders to be able like to have in policy development, to be able like to put library into actions that South Sudan can really work on, providing grants to small organizations like us that are trying to make sure that people have access to information, and also like have us in the process of building the librarian curriculum, right? So that we can train them to be really well equipped with the modern management and digital literacy in the libraries. I think those are the key things. And yeah.
Thank you so much. I
Okay.
could you George, you can go next.
Let me put this question then, Kurul Kama. Okay, like Peter, I want to ask the library that you have for South Sudan, right? You want to make it accessible for all South Sudanese.
Yes, yes. I think the partnership I think we signed with the National Ministry of Education. One of the goals that we have as EduPower is to establish 10 state libraries. Each and every headquarter of all the 10 states should have a library, right? And so, and especially the headquarters, right? Bentiu, Yambio, uh, Juba, Torid, and all those things. They need to be able to have libraries because those are the most crowded spaces, and those can really serve as the hub whenever we want to send book to Eastern Equatoria so that they can be dispersed, we send it to the headquarter, the library headquarter. And that library headquarter will be able to identify different schools, different areas that could be able, that needs library establishment. Right? So that's one goal for the 10 libraries. For the 25 libraries is that we need to have like support public schools, 25 public schools with libraries, so that they could be able like to catch up with the private, because private are taking shape, they are building their own, but the government doesn't have. So that's like the MOU that we have set. So in the next 10 years, 35 libraries will be our aim. Each and every year we'll be able to at least establish one, establish two or three, I think, and reaching by grace of God by 2035, I think all South Sudanese will build a reading culture, will have access to all the resources that are needed. Because in the library, it is not just a book. The libraries that will be building will put different equipment in there. Some people who want to come and do innovation will have an innovation side. Some people who want to access internet, you will have. Some people who want to access mentors, you'll be able to have them, right? And also books and spaces for you to train or be able like to tutor other young people, right? So we'll be able to create libraries, not just libraries, but a space where we will resource hub for young people. So as we do power, we call it learning hubs, right? We don't call them libraries. We will call them learning hubs, because when we call them libraries, people will just be bored and say there is only a book that is inside. But we want to take it to a different level. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, the reason why I asked that question, if you are going to make it for the country, so how are you going to integrate the, let me say, the cultural histories of each, let me say, each state, each county, to make sure that people are connected? Because I believe that some time back, people used to listen to the stories from, let me say, old people as they narrate them. But right now, it is the library or the learning hub, you have said, where we're supposed to listen to them. So how are you going to integrate such stories for each, let me say, each community, each state, and how are you, like, where are you going to collect them to make sure that they're accessible?
Okay, like I think that's really a good question, and we have that in our model, right? What we are planning to have, what we call Dr. John Garang Memorial National Library, right? And in that library, we'll be able like to put there's a we'll have to put like the story of South Sudan, especially maybe let me say in the headquarters. I believe I'm still online. Okay, sorry. So people like to. So what we are planning is that we are not just saying learning hubs or the library for just the sake of like. We are not saying library. The reason why we are saying learning hubs is that if people like to learn about the history of South Sudan, learn about the history of different community. So when we have a library in the capital of Bor, right, or let me say in the capital of Juba, right, we could be able like to bring, because it's the headquarter of the like the capital city of the country. So we'll be able like to have different cultural heritage space for them, right? We don't have to call it museum, because in the future they will have different museum. So the Ministry of Culture and they might come and say that, hey, why are you guys building museum there? So, but we will do it in that form. So in each and every state, at least each and everyone will have the culture of South Sudan and also the culture of each and every community in that space. So that means we'll have different reading sessions. Because I miss those. We used to count. I don't know how do we do it in our times. Well, we count different things and tell a story, right? We could be able to have a story session, right, with different young people. And our elders are growing old, and they might live with a lot of rich history, and so we'll be able to create a space for them to come and share the stories of liberation, the stories of the struggle, and the stories of their own faith, right? I think we will create that space for us. So don't worry about that. The only thing that you should be worried about is someone who will be able to fund this project. So if this project is funded, we'll be able to be happy and have that space there.
Okay, it's okay. I can answer very well, and it's good that you guys are going to put me can be a part, because as those people that used to narrate these stories for us are going, so like suppose book to get learn from them and we get it can be taught and for everyone to always get it. So I don't know, but I think how it will be accessible, but that's zero. So I think now Kejai will take the. believe.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kur. I really love the approach you guys are trying to take, and also the renaming of what you guys have really done. So, and chala num ta anang ra ni chukon ti juan pa ni jeng alwele hey katai par
Talk in English. Ruto is watching, so he wanted to
okay,
tell
okay.
us.
Okay. Yeah, it reminded me of a certain man. He was asked to go and demolish a certain house. So, and the word which was used, he didn't really get it. So they said it. Turping quoted in Dinka, which means demolishing. But that guy didn't know the real meaning of the word Turping. So, and someone tried to explain it to him in a more and a nice way. He told him that we are going to destroy that house. And by that, he went and he involved himself. So, what I'm trying to say here is that I really love the way you name it in a way that it is attractive to people, that learning hub or innovation hub. So it is really nice and I really love it. So the question that I'm going to ask you, it is related to the mindset our people have on girls nowadays. Whenever a girl try to move out, a lot of questions is being put in place. Like they will try to threaten her, where are you going? So how can we try to maybe talk to our people or try to brainwash them in regard to thinking otherwise? Okay, like if a girl say that I want to go to the library, so how can we try as much as possible that they are free and they really mean it, they are going to the library? How can we convince our people? Yeah, that's the
I,
question.
yeah, I think that's a good question. Uh, you could see the female literacy rate is 28.4% for the entire country, right? And we have at least their youth population is around 70% of the entire population. And I used to hear that girls are more than boys. So if we were like to continue with the past that girls should not read, girls should not be able like to go to the libraries, become a problem. I think the first thing that we'll have to, as the power, I think we have to advocate more on the importance of libraries and also the importance of girls taking their own life. Our society is different, right? And I think there are different things that defines people. One of the first things is that from your own perspective as a lady, you need to be able to build trust with your family, all right? Because when you don't have trust with, when you don't have trust with your family, like when you don't have a proper trust with your family, they always think that maybe you are going uh, to, 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 to your man, maybe go to a club or whatever, right? The first thing as a family member or let me as a lady, try to build a trust with the family. And so when you have trust, whenever you go, even though you are going out an event that will last for very long, and you have such kind of trust, I think uh, it really give you a freedom to be able to explore different things. And also to coming to the point, we'll be able to do different sessions, stakeholders meeting, right, to share with people. So when we call some parent to come in the library, come and show them these are the books. This is 3D printer. If anyone who is innovative thinking about something, they could be able to print it. We have different people who can help you with the art. So if you have your art, something that you want to design, you can find it. Where we'll be able to have different studios, where people could be able to read, and the studios for video recording, studio for singing, for all those things. So when we come and tell parents, okay, this is what we have in our library. We don't only have books. Your daughter can come and learn. Your daughter can come and be able to be tutored to be a writer, right? And show them different writers like Shimamanda, right? Teacher, right? So they will be able to be inspired. So when we engage parents and tell them more about libraries and tell them more about the importance of reading and how these spaces can really help young people to go further than that, I think that can really build a bigger trust, and that can really change the mindset. Like I said before, the adults, like let me say our elders that are having age of 65 plus, they have 12.4% literacy rate, which is very low. So they don't understand what that means, the importance of that library or whatever. So I think it's really when we bring and engage them, right? Like dialogue and share them. This is why this is really important. I think they will take the message. So when they take the message from there, I think they will fall in love with what we are doing. So, but all in general, what I believe is that we must design libraries in a way that is inclusive spaces for each and everyone. Parents, for girls, for boys, or let me say gentlemen, and each and everyone in the community. And also have flexible hours because, in South Sudan, a girl cannot go up to 7 p.m. So when it goes up to 7 p.m., it brings another problem. So we could be able to have flexible hours where girls can come and read and be able like to go back to the communities. And we can also even extend up to Sunday because weekend, a lot of young girls, they are free from family duties. And we cannot really change the mindset of our elders just quickly. It's step by step. When, for example, you are called, when you see your daughter is writing book at the age of 10, a book, you'll be inspired. And other people will be inspired. Oh, this is something is good there. Because our community believes when something good comes out of it, right? So I think that's one of the things. We also like be able like to have different reading programs, right? And like let me say mentorship programs to be able like to help young ladies understand how to be able like to engage with these resources, how to be able like to engage with the families, to build all those trust, like to help. And then when they share that I'm being mentored to do this, to be a writer, to apply for scholarship, I think the family would really like it, right? So female, I think one of the other things that we just recently did, we recruit some female librarians, right, of which we will be able to work, right? So female librarian and peer mentors can create a service, a sense of safety and belonging within the libraries. And so when parents come and see that there are also girls serving in the library, helping young people, I think they will be able to like it and say, okay, every woman is there, right? So and one thing that I think we will be able like to start is have different campaign, right, for girls, right? Girls read too campaign, right? That will amplify, like that's a campaign, and almost everyone in the society will fall in love with that. On social media, we just post girl read too and bring different whatever. That can challenge stereotypes and promote girl leadership through literacy. So that's what I can say on that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kur, for that perspective. Girls outside there, first of all, you need to win the trust of your family members so that whenever you are going out, they will really know that you are going out. I thought Kur is going to have a different perspective, or is going to contract me to maybe build a tracking device that can track the movement of girls and all those stuff. But anyway, yeah, I really like that. Girls, for you to be equally valued in the community, first make sure that you win the trust of your families. And by that, you will have access to reading and you will have access to do whatever things that you want. Thank you.
Also, I think they also have to perform perfectly in school, because when you are getting zeros and you're getting 30s, and you are going to
Correct.
library every day and there is no improvement, the parent will be like, no, 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 this is not giving anything. So, I think whenever you take any chance as a lady or as a woman,
Mm,
make sure you capitalize on it and make good use of it.
correct.
So when the results, because the results speaks for themselves. So when like the results are really fantastic, I think parents will fall in love because people fall in love with what is good, right? Not is what is ruining the society. So when we see a lot of female writers are coming up, right?
Mm,
Female speakers are coming up, poets, right? Through the mentorship being done in the libraries, I think they will be inspired, and there is no parent who will hold their children back. Yeah.
correct. Over to you, Akwal.
Oh, thank you so much. I would have loved this conversation to continue for hours, but because of time, we'll leave it to maybe one more question and then we'll or you 10 messages. Thank you so much, cool Peter. This is very rich, and if can imagine you right. Here in Canada, to really work in case or the public library is a very corner. Like you cannot walk 2 blocks or 3 blocks without getting public library. And those public libraries managed in a way they are very accessible for free. You know, when your family man war jet mama dia bende no go kula mama che kun bana ko ken che bela gan yen ke kaka doi dir. So
Always done.
and so I envision that happening to South Sudan, where they will have all library accessible to everyone, to families, to young girls, to young boys, and to everyone that want to grow professionally. So my last question is that you are really a bold mission. I think you get the first to drive this change this initiative, and I know many projects. They start strong, and then over time we die because of funding issues. What are some of the creative strategies that you are putting in place to make sure you sustain these community libraries or public libraries for long term or learning purpose, you call them?
Can you come again? I did not get the question.
The question is, you are really pulling a big project, and as we all know, some of these big projects they start, with strong momentum, like government now. Government support with ministries. Government today, but maybe government will change. Those memorandum of understanding may be dishonored. NGO have been funding with the USAID, and then it becomes stranded. So my question is, what some of the innovative strategies or creative strategies do you have in place to help sustain this mission of making public libraries or learning hub accessible across the 10 states in the country?
Let me respond. Just few minutes. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, it's raining outside. It's raining in Juba, though, in Chirakat. So we are being blessed. I think it's a great day. Um, you see, whenever in our community, let me say here in Chirakat, whenever a community want to launch a uniform for girls, or they want to have like the leadership, a lot of millions are well spent there. Whenever people want to sing, like some musicians, million of pounds are spent in this kind of areas. And for me, USA just pulled out last, is it earlier this year, and so it has really struck every corner of every donor, right? And it's really a problem, right? And when you rely too much on funding, it become a big issue, right? So for me, I don't believe in funding. I believe in community contribution, right? We as the community, actually, you have maybe $2. Uh, um, Adich have maybe $70. Queer have 1 million US dollars, right? Maybe I might come with just the knowledge, right? So the skills, right? Other person is having shares, right? Uh, Maybe another person is also having like some tables. Other person is having maybe the book that they have already read. When we bring all those together, it what? Be able like to build a community library. Someone is maybe is a good at like building like having building bricks. They can donate maybe 30 bricks, and so when like people, 50 people who build like who make bricks contribute, that's a lot, right? And so we can build community. So for me, the strategy that I believe in is the community contribution. They were like to host fundraising, right? To do different things. So if you go to our website as the Power Youth Foundation, right, you'll find that we have what we call a sponsor library, right? A sponsor library. If you are someone, maybe maybe you finish in Kakuma, maybe you finish in one of the school in Kakuma, and you would really love to give back to that school, you could be able like to like support them through us. Like if it is around $10 with $1,000, 500, right, and maybe different range, right? If you believe that the people of your community, right, deserve to have a library, right, you could be able like to what support them through our initiative, right? Where we'll be able to initiate the construction, work with our different partners to do the construction. We'll be able to bring books inside. We'll be able to bring uh, uh, trainers, Liberian, I mean, we train them, and we also build a sustainability model where they could be able like to sustain themselves even though we in our absence, right? So like introducing library cards, right? Membership card, because we need to at least, even though something is free, it should not be entirely free, because even though it is for the society, you have to contribute something small, right? So for you are working, is a call, right? So when you are working, we give you based on you, we charge your membership based on your status, right? If it is a primary student, right, we charge them based on their status, so that they could be able to access the library. And that money we could use it to sustain the library, pay for the cleaners, pay for the library staff, pay for like maintenance, so that the community can use it. So in South Sudan, not everything is free, right? So we cannot make everything free. For our model is that we collaborate with the community, right? For example, if BCY, anyone who is really interested, one of the board community young men or elder is really interested to be able to build a community library in BCY Center, right? They come through us, we put a strategy together and we build it. We keep it with books, right? If, for example, I graduated from Greenbelt Academy, right? If I have enough money and I want to give back to Greenbelt Academy, right? I would be able like to go and say, okay, Greenbelt, I want to help you guys. So I give the money to Power Youth Foundation, they build the library, and I have the right to be able to be named after the library or as a legacy, right? So that's the strategy that we could sponsor a library so that we could be able like to use the community resources to make them happen. So I think that's the one of the strategy. Another strategy we're using is that work with different book donors, right? Those book donors, they give us books so that we could be able to distribute it to different schools. Right? In this school, we say that build a library will give you the books and put it in place, right? So that's another strategy so that we could be able to have more schools that have library as for young people to be able to access like the books and build the culture of reading. So those are different strategies. Because I've been here for almost 5 months now, and there is no organization who could be able to come and pull out their money and say that, yeah, we'll support you there, because they will say that they don't have it in their plan. But anyone from the community can pull out some money and say that I want to help my community. I want to help make sure that the children in Jale, the children in Nakaringole, the children in Kaya, the children in Ye, I want to make sure that they have a library, a space where a youth in Ye can have a space to read and learn and expose to the world. I think that's the biggest strategy that we use. We want to rely on our community and work together with the community to build the community. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. The power of community, community empowerment. Thank you so much. What a great strategy. I think we're been to a close, but could you actually know two burning question? Maybe the Jala teaching his U-turn message. But toward the end, we call die on the U-turn show. We speak English and Dinka. I really, really want, personally, my personal wish to bring Dinka language on the platform. Sorry, I use it because I want the message to really get into our people. The youth and they say charity begins at home, and when we started this, I want to begin at home, and now we expand to the whole world. So forgive me for not it somewhere here, in and there. But I believe even if you look at South Sudan statistics, Dinka girls are more behind. They are dancing with Ayaya on Gumba Basic, but other Equatorian counterparts are really educated. Majority of them are doctors. Majority of them they are working in NGO sector one no will. But work watch did will or Juba Takuma age, which is not good. So I really want our young girls to really have the youth and to really get the benefits of using their knowledge. Not just beauty. I know we are all beautiful, tall, and we can attract a lot of wealth and wealthy people, but we are wealth ourselves if we empower ourselves and use the power within our communities to transform ourselves. So thank you. Usually in the end, we conclude our show with U-turn messages. And U-turn messages, these are the call to action. Like after all this knowledge that has been shared, what a strong message in the different group of different audience that watch the shows here on Facebook and on the YouTube, also on Instagram. What message to youth, young girls or boys or men, to women, to different nationalities that may support this? So I will start with Kuri Joy. Dorcas just dropped out. If Dorcas comes, she will share a concluding thought, and then we'll end with you, our speaker, with your concluding remarks. So, Quinn, what is your U-turn message in regard to the topic of today, which is really enabling access, to libraries or to learning hubs so that we transform our communities?
Yeah, thank you so much. This has really been a fruitful discussion with Peter, and I am really super excited to be part of this. They always say that a death of an old man is like a banning of library. So what they are trying to mean there is that all men they have knowledge like the one in library. So they are trying to really promote libraries in that quote. So or my message, last message is that I really love what Kur said before that don't let someone dictate you. And in our society, we always live around people who try as much as possible to discourage us. Whenever you read a lot or you move with a lot of book, people will now be branding you with different name. So what I can tell you outside there is that don't listen to them, pay deaf ear to them, and mind your own business. Okay, your business here is to read and to prosper, and by that you will really make it in life. So I want to say this also. A lot of people are discouraged, especially me. For me, by then I usually hate reading things on electronic. So I hate soft copies. I always go for hard copies. But one day, as we were conversing with my girlfriend, she told me that, hey, Quir, I tried to explain to her that I really hate this uh, digital things. I don't like reading in soft copy. And she told me that, no, you shouldn't do that. Try to utilize whatever resources that you have at that particular time. So outside there, we have a lot of libraries that are free. So I'm going to type them later in the comment section so that you go there and you download any book that you want. So I know most of people outside there they have no resources to really buy hard copy. So you can just utilize the digital services that we have nowadays, and it is now helping me in in my research. You know, we go to IEEE, Google Scholar, and other online platform to go and read, and we read them digitally. So if you have that mindset that I once had, so uh, try to leave it and utilize whatever knowledge available to you currently, and you use it. So all in all, make sure that you befriend books, and by that people will always wonder where you acquire that knowledge, you know. So and second to the last, make sure that whatever thing that you read in the library, you try to share it with other people. By that, they will stick in your brain and they will stick in your mind. So up to this far, I really appreciate you, Kur, for giving us your time. You requested for 1 hour, but we are now beyond 1 hour. It means that the thing that we are discussing here, it is really impactful, and I learn a lot from you, and I learn a lot also from Paul, and to our beautiful audience here in the comment section. I really learn a lot. So thank you so much, and that's my last message. God bless you.
God bless you, Kurigach. What a brief call to action and takeaway. I also put one takeaway from your takeaway that we need to share what we've learned, what we have read. Very, very important. I know Munja Queen will share. Don't be shy. You're always proud. You are proud of the knowledge law. Take it. That's message from Kur. Kur, go ahead and share your last U-turn message to your audience, and wake up here. Please share your U-turn message in the comment section. Thanks, Solomon. We want to hear your U-turn message. Santino Deng, I know you have your question. It will be addressed in the U-turn message. Thank you, and share your U-turn message in the comment section. Thank you. Take it away.
Okay, I think I have two important questions from Santino and Mr. Ngormajak. Like I said before, we don't have to just set libraries, just libraries. I want to be able to build them as the learning hubs. Learning hubs mean we'll be able to have different resources. Learning about South Sudan, learning about yourself, right? Learning about the world, right? Discovering about what really matters to you the most, right? And so for me, what I think about that question that you say is that we could be able to have different cultural, we can host different cultural, how do you call them, cultural events and workshops. Imagine organizing a place where we will come and tell stories about back then. We talk about the one, right? We talk about code, which is folk and lion. We talked about you can be able to talk about the migration of Dinka, the migration of Bantu, right? And that can really inspire people. So I think, and that can connect the community. It will build really a personal connection across communities and encourage mutual respect. So because when if Nuer community say that the reason why we have marks in our head is because of this, and it's really important about it. So when I find a Nuer person, young man, I will not judge them. Why having this? It is like primitive and all those, because I understand the importance of that in their culture. When I find a Dinka person with a lower teeth being removed, they will be able to share what is that all about, and we could be able to remove that. One of the most important things, we have a lot of writers, right? South Sudanese writers, but we don't have a library that will really uh, uh, bring all this collection together. I think so. For me, I think like having a great diverse collection of South Sudanese books, magazine, that really truly reflect our history, our languages. For me, I don't know how to write Dinka, which is a shame for me. But I'm supposed to be able to learn about it. For me, I know how to speak Dinka alone, but I'm supposed to know more than like 5 languages, South Sudanese. And I think when we have library spaces that be able to give us that, I can learn about the tradition, right? So, and our different arts. So I think it's really important about that. And also creating different like having reading clubs and discussion groups. So for when we bring maybe people from different culture or background, 10 of them, and they have a discussion on specific topics, I think that will really, really amplify like the connection there, and to really appeal to use that and take away learners who engage more could be able to learn more. So, and also we'll be able to encourage critical thinking, empathy, and also like dialogue across communities, and be able to understand that these people can be angry when this one is done. So understanding ourselves, I think, and it goes on and on and on and on, right? Some of us now, they are forgetting their language, right? If you take some of the people whom their kids are in US, some of them don't know how to talk in Dinka. Some of them don't know how to talk in Nuer and other languages, Chuluk and all those things. And we are erasing our culture. So I think libraries can really serve as a space for us to be able to do that, where we could be able to publish books that are in Dinka, that are in different languages, be able to create a platform where we could be able to come and share our differences, because these differences make us who we are as South Sudanese. So that, and I think there's a lot to say around that. And I think, yeah, I can stop from there. And for Mr. Ding, have a very interesting book. It's called, how do you call it? Make Your Bed by William H. McRaven. Right? It's really about self-discovery, how you could be able to organize yourself, and it's really important books. And other books like Things Fall Apart, right, by Chinua Achebe, and A Long Way Gone by Ismail Bey. So these are some of the different books that can really help you. Okay. Okay, I think I'm giving the last message. Yeah. So first of all, start with fiction, right? Uh, Easy to start with. Those are the easy book to start with, and then later on, go to go to operational like, I mean non-fiction. So by that you could be able to learn different when you connect with different stories and all those things. So my last message to the YouTube community is that education is powerful when it is shared. It's not when is taught, because it is really important when we share our experiences, when we share the book that we have with the people that cannot have it. So let's not make education a privilege. Let's make it an opportunity for each and everyone to learn. So let's turn the page on ignorance and start reading our books, one book at a time. You'll be able to learn more. And so I challenge each one of you to pick up a book this week. I challenge each one of you to be able to talk to a different person that can build a community library or support us. And also, like, people like to share what you have learned with someone else. and visit a library regularly. It will really help a lot. So together, I think we can build a culture of reading and celebrate our diversity. And that's to be able to create a South Sudan that is informed, united, and proud, right, of its stories. So it's really important for us to be able to embark on all those things, right? And this can really keep us away from misinformation and other things. So that's what I can say on us. Let's make sure that to understand that education is powerful when it is shared, not when it is stored in our brain, when the book is stored in your class, in your in your in your desk or whatever. Make sure that you share what you have, your knowledge, your resources. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kur Peter. What a great way to close the U-turn show. The call to action today is we need to share the light. We need to share the knowledge, the information, the resources we have, and that is a very powerful message. So thank you, Kur, for sharing your light. I'm reading actually The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama. I'll finish this before the end of this week by tomorrow or on Monday. And it's also a great reminder of, message that you share today, that we all have light within us. And so my last call to action is, if you have books, I know Alakir from the youth and mentioned a friend has books that need to be donated. And so now if we will sit down and find a way that we can get them to you, Kur, to go to the library. I know it's Canada is far, but we'll find a way to do that. If we have resources, I am not advocate for hands out, but I'm advocate for sharing knowledge and anything that contribute to self-development. And this is one of the areas that I am very pleased that I can support 100%. So if you are just watching the U-turn show, please, you can support or share your light by sharing these ones, because you never know, it may land on a policymaker, a potential donor that will support this cause. So please share this message. It may help change someone's mindset, because now I think that don't be they call it people that are stingy with knowledge. There are some people that have so much, but they're so stingy that they don't share. They might open their mind and share this. So please share this message. It may reach to those people. It may reach to a policymaker that will help advocate for this cause. It may reach to someone that will definitely make a difference in other people's life. It might not necessarily about library, but in different capacity, because we share resources differently, we share knowledge differently, personal development differently. So please, thank you so much, Kur, and thank you. We'll continue to contribute in the comment section. Do your part. We will do our part. And on the U-turn, we are usually available every Saturday around this time to share our light, to share our knowledge, because that is the only area that Kura said that it can make power, impact. It's powerful when it is shared. It's not powerful if it is kept inside. So thank you. Thank you so much. Now go to Edu Power page and like and follow, so that you get information about the work that they are doing, and ways that you can contribute to getting that message out or being part of the initiative. That is where we will end. And thank you so much, Kuri George and Dorcas, who has been on and out. I appreciate your time and your commitment to always share your light with our community members. So God bless you all.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was really great. Thank you all.